This is the halftime show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
It sure is that time. It's the halftime show with Omar Adori. I'm your host, cover everything sport, international and local. And shout out to everyone who's tuned in around the world, whether it's 95 FM, Pulse95Radio.com, our app, Sharjah Broadcasting Authority, or if you're chilling at home, watching us live on YouTube. And by the way, the Instagrammers, they're popping off already. Already they're popping off. Why? Because my next guest here, Anisha Shetty, is on the show, 2 times UAE Muay Thai champion, 3 times National Muay Thai champion, and we're just getting warm. And she's going to be here live on the only place to be at 3, the halftime show on Pulse 95. Let's do it.
This is the halftime show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
Sure is that time. It's the halftime show with Omar Adori. I'm your host, cover everything sport, international and local. What a great show we have in store for you today, because Anisha Shetty is on the show today. What? Yes, that's right. It took you a while, Lil Jon, but you got there. She's on the show today and she's right here next to me. Yeah! Oh man, I can't wait. And guess what? We're talking a lot of things, and as now we've got a lot of people on the Instagram saying what's up. Shout out to Musab, Umniya, Rana, Florin, Mazvi, Fatima, Nimra, KO8 as well. Of course, we can't forget them. Davis, Masood, and CCK. Anisha, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. And it's great to have you in the show. And already we've got some comments coming in, and everyone's really, really full of support for you. And they're actually saying, even Florin, who doesn't know you and just seen you now on the Instagram, has turned around and said she looks like a fighter, which is great. Anisha, your story is pretty remarkable. Tell me how it all started for you.
Okay, so to begin with how it started, it's actually a bit funny because it started with me watching a movie.
Okay,
so
what movie?
It was a movie about an Indian boxer.
Okay.
You must have heard about it. She's called Mary Kom.
Okay, yeah.
Mary Kom. So there was an Indian movie about her, and I just watched that movie. And I was watching it. I'm like, oh my god, I want to be that.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what boxing or Muay Thai was like. It was just the same thing, like put the gloves on and fight. So I'm like, I want to do that.
Okay.
So, but that was pretty new in the city where I'm from. So we didn't have anybody doing that before. I've not heard anybody doing that. So I'm like, okay, let me find out how it's going to be. If we really have that in the place or something like that.
How long ago was that?
5-6 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. So you're, and you said the city you're from. Where are you from? Tell everyone where you're from.
I'm from Mangalore, India.
Okay, excellent. And so you're over there and you're watching this movie.
Yes.
And you get inspired to put on the gloves.
Yeah.
Then what happens? You find a gym.
Yeah, so started looking for a coach where I could train.
Okay.
One of my friends was training with a coach, and I got to know he went for a fight like 6 months earlier. So I'm like, I want to join that place.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, let me go there. And we went there, and there was no gym. So my coach used to rent a dance studio for 4 hours a day, where he used to train the fighters.
Interesting. Okay.
So he used to rent the studio for 4 hours a day, 2 hours in the morning and in the evening. So I'm like, okay, I want to start.
Yeah.
And then when they were like, okay, again there. I was the only girl when I joined there because there were no other fighters.
Okay.
So when he was like, oh wow, you want to fight? I'm like, no, I don't want to fight. For now, I just want to learn boxing. Okay. So that's how I actually started.
Right.
And then obviously once you get into it, it's great. So you start learning and like, oh my god, I can punch, I can actually punch, I can do that and this. It's cool, you know?
Yeah. And so what was the reaction when you're the only girl that actually joins this dance studio with your boxing coach in India? What's the reaction from the others around you?
Yeah, it was a bit different because, you know, when you spar, you know it because you box. So you spar because I was the only girl. I had to spar with the boys. Yeah. And they're not ready to punch you because like, we don't want to hit a girl.
Yeah. And then you punch them back.
Yeah. And then they actually punch you. They don't want to get hit by a girl. Though.
Yeah.
They don't want to hit a girl, but at the same time, don't want to get hit by a girl. So then you punch you back.
That's amazing. And when did you realize like this is your passion? Like this is what you want to do?
It took a while because I had no plans of becoming a fighter because I was in university, so I was studying and this was just like after university, like something to keep me fit. Yeah. But then once I got into it, it was really nice, like from where I started. So I think the gym atmosphere, my other fighters and everyone, like even my coach, like all were in a fighter mindset, all were going for a tournament. And I was like, wow, this is nice. Maybe I would want to do it. So from there, it started off like, so I was doing pretty good because I was an athlete since childhood. So I could pick up the sport faster. So that way my coach asked me once, like, we have a state tournament coming up and do you want to take part? I was like, maybe. I don't want to say no. So maybe I'll say yes and then train for it. And it's only going to be my first fight, so not a problem. So that's how it started.
Okay.
And then, I won the fight. So that was a state fight. So it was not, to be honest, not many fighters from my state. So it was easy for me to win.
Oh, you're being modest now. I mean,
no, that was from the state. But then the nationals. So then I went to the nationals.
Okay.
That was the first time I fought. It was a proper event, and I lost that event.
Okay.
And that's when I want to know. I want to be a fighter. I want to win the next time.
Right. So when you lost, what was the feeling? You've jumped into an event.
Yeah.
You've only been boxing for a little while at that point. What were you feeling?
When I went to the fight or after the fight?
As you're going to the fight, obviously you're excited, you're anxious, all that. Once you're done with the fight and you've actually come out with the loss rather than the win, was that the best victory for you, the fact that you lost?
Yeah, I think it was because there I was like, okay, now I know what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I know how can I get there, what I should be doing to be there.
Yeah.
And that kind of motivated me in a different way and changed the career, what I'm thinking about. So that's how I'm like, okay, this is it. I'm coming for the next nationals and getting a gold. Amazing.
And then that opponent that you faced, right? So you've lost to this opponent, you've gone away, you've come back with a different mindset. You want to win now. This is your thing. What's the next step? Like, what do you take? For those people that are out there now that have their first loss, they jump into a sport, what should they be doing?
I think you should just train more because you know why you lost the first time. I think you quite learn a lot from your first fight.
Yeah.
Whether you win or lose, you learn a lot from your first fight. And I think the first fight teaches you a lot. So from me, it was like I just knew I had to train more, change my mindset a bit.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, first fight, I was a bit scared.
Okay.
Not scared to get hit, but just to like what is going to happen there. Like, because it's combat sports, you can get knocked out and there are many things happening in the ring. So I think like the more you fight, you just know how much more you have to prepare.
Yeah, and I think that's a lesson to people that are listening because even if they're not jumping into a ring, they're facing their own battles.
Exactly.
So how could they approach it by relating your sport to their battles?
Yeah, I think it's always like you learn from your mistakes, right? So it's the same thing, even if it's Muay Thai or anything in your personal life too.
Yeah.
So you know what went wrong and how you could do it better. And you already know the answer.
Yeah.
But you just know it when you lose the fight. You know?
Yes.
So you know it when things go bad or things go wrong.
Yeah.
So then you know, okay, this is what I've done and I shouldn't be doing that again and do something better later.
Ah, amazing. Okay, good, great. So we had our first segment with Anisha Shetty on the show. Remember, if you do miss the episode, you can catch them on the podcast, Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, or if you prefer a visual and you want to check out the whole episode, our YouTube channel, Pulse 95 Radio. Head over there and you can see Anisha Shetty, the whole episode, not just one segment, on the YouTube channel, thanks to Super Mario. But we're going to take a quick break. We'll play some tunes. Here's some Blackstreet No Diggity, and we'll be right back after this. See you in a bit, folks.
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
It sure is that time. And we're having a good time here on the Halftime Show with Anisha Shetty here, who's had a lot of love, by the way. She's had a lot of love on the Instagram. All of the followers, listeners, from Rana to Mirna to Leggy to Stephanie to Sean, Kieran. I mean, there was so many names. I'm running out. Nimra as well, KO8, Maram. Everyone is dropping questions for Anisha Shetty. So let's just dive straight into that. Anisha, in terms of competition, Davis is asking, what's next for you?
I am actually training, but I haven't got a fight yet. Soon I'll be getting some fight and I'll be ready for it.
All right, I like that. And Stephanie's asking, are your classes or sessions just for fighters only?
No, it's not. So I don't basically train fighters.
Okay.
So that's the main thing. So I want everyone to train Muay Thai because people think Muay Thai is only for fighters, and that's not it.
Right.
So in KO8, like I teach KO8 combat.
Yeah.
So which is
Great class, by the way.
thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah. So that class is where I want to teach people and educate people about Muay Thai, not to prepare them and go and fight tomorrow, but it's just for them to learn the sport because Muay Thai just as a sport is amazing.
Yeah.
And I think everybody should try it at least once.
Yep.
And if you want to try it, come and try it with me.
Yeah.
At KO8. I'm located at KO8 in Dubai Marina.
Yep.
So I want everyone to try it. So once you try it, you know how addictive it is and how wonderful it is as a sport.
What's the things that attract you to things like Muay Thai and boxing?
It is, I don't know what exactly, but I think it's more about like learning. There's always something new to learn in Muay Thai. So there's like, you don't just learn punches, elbows, and tomorrow I'm like, there's nothing new to learn. I'm done, maybe I'm bored with it. But in Muay Thai, it's like every day you have something new to learn. So I love learning. So for me, it's more like you learn new skills every day, new techniques every day. So that's very addictive to me, and I enjoy that.
Awesome. And with all, Davis has asked you a question that I'm going to ask you in segment 3. I'll tell you that in the break as well. With all the things that we normally hear, one of the things that people really talk about is a fighter's mindset. What is it about a fighter's mindset that really stands out?
Yeah, I think for fighters, it is mostly like you've got a heart of a fighter, you say, you know? Like that is the most important thing a fighter must have, because everybody's got the techniques, so everybody knows how to fight. Everybody's got the techniques, same cardio, same running, it's the same. But when you win a fight or you're in the ring, it's the mindset that's fighting actually. So it's fighter's mindset more like, you know, it's more about the courage to get in first of all. Because you know what can happen inside. You know what are the possibilities and you don't want to get through there. So it's something like you have to have a lot of courage to get in, to get hit on your face, punched on your face, kicked on your face. So for me, fighter's mindset is like, I don't know, like
a challenge?
A challenge, actually. So fighting is a big challenge for me. So it is always challenging. So you win today and you have another challenge tomorrow, and it always keeps you, good, You have something to do. It's always challenging. Everything you do will replicate how you're going to fight. So it's always keeping you in the game.
You know what I love about, like, if you're watching her on YouTube right now, even when she said you get punched in the face, you get kicked, she's still smiling. That's when you know. That's when you know.
That's one of the fighter's mindset.
Yes, absolutely. And not only that,
nothing scares you.
Well, I mean, the things that you've mentioned, I like the way you've talked about learning from losses in fighting, because the overall thing is the fact that you've learned from it. And a lot of people are scared of losing. Right? There's a lot of questions coming in here, but before I jump into those questions, let me ask you this. Do you win just as much from losing by losing? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
How so?
To talk like personally, I'm one of them who does not like losing. And that affects me a lot. So I come from where I want to win in everything. So for me to start fighting, I was like, oh my God, because it's my first fight, I might lose. So I'm like, maybe I don't want to fight because I'm going to lose. It's my first fight. But I think once you get into it, and for example, like you said, you learn a lot from losing. So once you lose, you know how you lost, and maybe that will just help you in, like, to win. And you learn from that too. So I was just training yesterday, and my coach was just saying, the techniques what I teach you is either I did that technique and I won, or either that person did that to me and I lost. That's what he just said yesterday.
Nice.
So that's what I remember when he said that.
Amazing. Another question coming in here. What do you do to prepare yourself for a fight?
It takes a lot of preparation, like from training. And because it's fighting, you fight under a weight category. So you need to be in weight. So usually you cut a lot of weight. So to cut a lot of weight, you need to stop kind of eating. It needs a lot of discipline.
Oh, wow. Okay. I can't do that.
You need to start fighting and you do it. And because you know if you don't do that, you're not fighting. And you've prepared so much for the fight, and you can't be not fighting just because you didn't make weight. So I think fighting also teaches you the discipline. like generally I eat a lot.
Yeah.
I love to eat, but when it comes to fighting and I know I have to lose weight, make weight, we sometimes don't even drink water one whole day just to cut weight the previous day.
Wow. Okay.
And that's what you said, like it's a fighter's mindset.
Yeah.
You know you want to do it and
Yeah.
you will do it anyway.
With the fact that you've been an athlete all your life, has that helped you cut weight quicker or easier?
I don't think it would affect me in cutting weight, but it definitely helps me in the discipline I've got.
Yeah.
Like, because I've been an athlete, like I said.
Yeah.
So you always know, like, you can't, because if you don't make weight, it does not show you're a professional. And because you've been in sports, you have respect to sports and you know how you should be. And it's not this last moment drop out, like, oh, I didn't make weight and I can't fight and things. You don't do that.
Does it also affect the purse if you don't make weight? Like, for example, when these promotions or they pay the fighters, if you don't make weight, does it affect what you get from it?
Like if you don't make weight, you can't fight.
Okay.
So you straight away can't fight.
Yeah. So it's an even bigger loss in that sense.
So you just can't fight. So you prepared for long. Like your fight camps are like 4 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever. You worked really hard, and you just couldn't control your food and make weight.
Yeah.
And then you're not going to get a fight. And sometimes you might be able to fight if your opponent says, "I'm okay to fight the heavier person still."
Yeah.
So, but it doesn't show well on you.
Right. And Stephanie's asking here, how often do you train?
I train Muay Thai and strength. So I train 6 times a week. Currently, I'm training like 3 to 3.30 minutes.
Okay.
3 hours and 30 minutes every day.
3 hours and 30.
Yeah.
See, if you thought that broke up and she only said 30 minutes, she doesn't look like this by training 30 minutes, trust me. And then the other thing I was going to say to you is, how important, like in a fighter, we mentioned cutting weight, we mentioned training. How important is recovery when it comes down to a fighter, especially if you train 6 days a week?
Yeah, recovery is very important. Like, but you don't really get enough time to recover. So maybe like when I was preparing for the fight, we went for this ice bath.
Yeah.
Those kind of recovery is better because you don't really have like 2 days, 3 days off. You can't take that long off, especially when you're fighting.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of active recovery we would do, like ice bath or maybe just go for a long run or yoga or something like that.
Okay. I'm understanding it a lot more now. This is the last question before we take a break. When you do finish your fight, and you said you like to eat, like me. Okay. What's the first thing you want to eat?
I would eat anything. I would literally eat anything that's in front of me.
Okay.
I'll jump straight into it.
Okay. But do you crave anything? Like fighters normally have some cravings. Do you crave anything or are you just going to go for anything?
Just go and eat anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to take a quick break. Here's some Beyonce playing for you. What an awesome episode so far. Don't go anywhere, folks. See you straight after this.
This is the halftime show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
Sure is that time, and I can't believe it's almost full time on the halftime show. We've had 2 segments already. Jumping into the 3rd segment, we've asked all sorts of questions, and you know what? It's been fun as well because during the break we get a chance to pick her brain on a few things, and a lot of people here on the Instagram have been asking some fire questions for her, which has kept her on her toes. She's still smiling. I learnt one of her favorite cheat meals, so if you are on the Instagram, you would have known that chicken curry is one of her main go-tos as Runner. I think it was Runner that told me that. I think Runner told me that. Yeah, shout out to Runner. Boxing_IG and Serene as well are here. Now, there's a question that a good friend of mine, Davis, was going to ask you, which I was going to ask you, and it was, how do you reset? Now, you do all these things, amazing things. You teach at KO8, you fight. You have this personality that people are obviously drawn to you based on obviously all these comments on Instagram. But how do you reset?
How do I reset? Yes. So it takes a while because I took a break from fighting because of COVID.
Okay.
So once I got back and doing all of them together, like from coaching, fighting, it took me a while to get into it.
Yeah.
But I think if like generally I'm surrounded with good people, I would say, luckily.
Yeah.
So it just takes me a time to just talk to people and get my mind off things. And that's how I generally, I need to talk.
Yeah.
So I need to talk and go out and, maybe just have some alone time sometimes.
Yeah.
And then that's how I generally reset.
I like that. And I have to ask you about mental fitness. It's something that we ask a lot here on the show, and different athletes, different coaches. I've always asked them this question, and it is to do with reset, but it's a different angle. When you want to get fit physically, you go to the gym, you go train, you box and everything. When you want to get mentally fit, where'd you go?
Nowhere, actually. Sit by yourself and just try to work on things you know you want to work on. And maybe you can talk to people too.
Yeah.
But I generally don't prefer talking to people.
Okay.
So
there's something nice about just kind of disconnecting from people.
yeah, sometimes, especially when you're getting into, when you want to fight, you need to get into your space and think like, what do you want to do? How are you going to fight? What's going to happen? Because there's so many things that you can talk to a therapist or your mental coach, but sometimes not really everybody understands because they've not been in the ring. So they don't understand what you're actually feeling.
Yeah.
So it is a bit different. But again, you can still, there are people who can help you out with it. But that's what I do. Sometimes I need so there are two things. So sometimes I like to talk and sometimes I don't.
Okay.
So sometimes I'm like, I just want some space and just think, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Maybe work on this.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you just talk and people, because I have people who are already been in the sports, like who have been fighters before. So they would help me out with like, don't worry, so this is what you think. You've trained enough. So they know how much I'm training.
Yeah.
So they tell you like, you've trained enough. So just go in there, do your best. Even those little things will help you a lot. So it's always good to have good support, like I would say. So if you always, like for example, where I work at KO8, I have a great team.
Yeah, great team.
Yeah, I have a great team. So when I was training for my fight, when I was training for my last world championship, I was so tired when I went to work. Like every day I was just like that every day. But then you still have people like, no, Anisha, you're doing great.
Yeah.
You're doing amazing. Just 3 more weeks. You're doing well. You're going to be amazing in the fight. Those little things that keeps coming to you every day.
Yeah.
That kind of helped me to get through it. And that's how I got into it.
Fighters aren't always full of gratitude. You seem to have a lot of gratitude. Amongst that is because of your story and how you got into fighting. I know this because I've done my research. There's a story about sharing gloves.
Oh, yes.
That for me, personally, was probably the game changer in having you on the show. Because it shows a lot about your personality. Can you share that with the listeners, please?
Yes, so that was like when I told you before, like we did not have a proper set gym. So we used to train at this place and only one of them had a pair of gloves.
How many people were there?
We were up to 8 to 10 fighters.
Yeah.
So we just had one pair of gloves, one punching bag,
right,
one coach, and we didn't even have the thigh pads with us. We just had these boxing pads.
Wow. Okay.
So that's how we started training. So that time, so if the coach is taking pad work at one place, other guys just doing shadow with no gloves at all. So when it's your turn to put the gloves on, that's the best feeling.
Oh.
Like I'm like, you're doing the shadow and you know next is your turn to put the gloves on, looking at the gloves, or next is me. I'm going to put the gloves on now.
Yeah.
So that is the best feeling. And the best part is once I was the last person to put the gloves on. So the guy who owned the gloves, he was like, he left earlier, so he was like, you can keep the gloves and get it tomorrow. So I had to take the gloves home. Oh my God, that was the best. I took it home, like, I have the gloves at home today. I trained at home too. I didn't know what to do. I was in the house like, okay, let me just punch. I have the gloves. Let me make full use of it and make sure I'm using it to my best.
Yeah. See, that's amazing. And also, you would think that those gloves are pretty worn and pretty sweaty after 10 people have used them.
I know. Now when I think about it, especially after COVID, like, oh my God, did we actually train in that gloves? But it was good. And all of us, it was okay with us because we just wanted to train. So the sweat, or I don't know how it smelled or whatever, it didn't matter then. Because all we wanted is to train, put the gloves on, and
yeah, I think that's one of the testaments to your personality. Another question coming in here. What do you do to curb your nervousness before a fight?
Before a fight, yes. So sometimes I just think about my previous fights. So I think about my previous fights. So because I've been winning a lot of fights. So every time when I'm nervous, I just think, okay, I've done that fight. I won. I did great. So I do that again. Okay. That's one of them, I think. Or sometimes I just think, okay, I know how much I've trained. So and I usually think, yeah, I'm the best and I can do it.
I like that.
So
I like that.
That's how I usually go through it.
Your clients seem to be more nervous than you, because Rana was saying, I can't curb my nervousness before her fight. I have no idea how she keeps calm. And Davis is saying, thank you for sharing that, because it makes us grateful for what we have. And I think that's the reason why I asked you that question specifically. It's because I think a lot of people out there, they need to listen to your story and things that you've done, and it makes them appreciate what they have rather than what they don't.
Yeah, true.
You know?
Yeah.
Let's just run through these comments quickly before we take a break. Well, the Instagrammers are absolutely loving it right now. Very, very happy about that. One last question before we jump off to a great song that I like is, do you have role models?
Not really.
That's interesting. I wanted to ask you that. Okay. Is that something that you just choose not to have, or
Like, I do have people who I look up to, like maybe some fighters. I'm like, I love his style. I like how he fights.
Yeah.
But not really.
Okay.
Not a role model, really.
Interesting. Great. Okay, we're going to play some Shaka SOS, Sunshine Over Stress. What a great track to have. I'll be right back after this.
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
It sure is that time. And you know, it's only fitting that it's almost sad it's full time on the Halftime Show. I have Anisha Shetty here on the show, and she's been terrific. What an episode we've had. Anisha, the questions have been firing off, and seeing that we're almost done, let's just jump straight into them. Muay Thai is not just for fighters. It's for everyone. It's for kids as well. What is it that people can expect when they come to a Muay Thai class?
So basically, if you're coming for a Muay Thai class, so you can learn a lot of techniques. So it could be like, first, it would be for self-defense.
Yeah.
It can be self-defense. It can be for your fitness. It is the best one for fitness. Like, you can lose a lot of weight. If people just want to lose weight too, that's what Muay Thai is the best.
Yeah.
And then it's good for you for your self-confidence. And you know, Muay Thai is more about like making your body a weapon, you know. So you don't need another
like
weapon.
that.
You train Muay Thai, you're a weapon and you're confident. You don't need anything else to be more confident, you know.
I like that. Masoud is asking, who's all the way, who's tuned in from India, saying, who's her support system for everything she's achieved, and how does she get back up when she feels like she wants to give up?
Okay.
That's a good question.
So for that, I have a big support team, like from my family, the people I work with, my friends, like everywhere. I have a big support system, so I'm very grateful to that.
Yeah.
Because I have an amazing family. Everybody is supportive to whatever I do. Like for me to change my career too, it was a difficult choice, but then my family was okay with it. I did that too. And then now when I'm working KO8 again.
Yeah.
So I have a huge support system there, and of course my family, my friends.
Yeah.
So I'm always on WhatsApp. I think I'm scared I'm fighting tomorrow. They're like, no, you can do it.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Amazing. Rana's saying, I think Muay Thai is also a mental exercise, not just a physical exercise. And Anisha, how's the Muay Thai circle?
How's the Muay Thai circle?
Yeah.
I think it is a good vibe, you know, being around with Muay Thai fighters. Like, it is good because all have kind of faced something and overcome it. So everyone has their own story.
Yeah.
And then we're all together, so we could relate to each other. And everyone like listen to their story and like, wow, that's what he's done. And you know, that also gives you a confidence and pushes you to do better.
Yeah.
So all together, it's a good vibe.
Amazing. I like that. Another question from Masoud. I told you he was going to start asking questions. How does she rewire and navigate her mindset, especially at the time when she tries something out of her comfort zone? It's a good question, Masoud.
Okay, that is a big question.
Go on.
Okay. Can you repeat it
Yes.
again?
So the question was, how do you rewire and navigate your mindset, especially when you're out of your comfort zone?
I think it's just like with fighting, you get this mindset of not giving up. So anything you try, like out of your comfort zone or something you're not good at, or you're trying something for the first time, whatever. So you just have this mindset from being a fighter of not giving up.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that will push you throughout.
Amazing.
Like no matter what you're doing, but you're so used to not giving up, and giving up is not an option for you. You can get through anything.
Amazing. Before we wrap up the full time, I want the listeners and all the followers to follow you.
Yes.
Where can we follow you at?
Anisha.Shetty You can follow me there.
Is that on Instagram?
Yeah, it's on Instagram, Anisha.Shetty. It's a pretty unique name, but even if you don't find it there, maybe you can go to KOA Dubai and you can check me out there.
Okay, fantastic. And that is full time on the halftime show. It wasn't that bad, was it?
Oh, it was amazing.
We had some fun, huh?
Yes, we did.
Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. We had a great show. And remember, you can catch it every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, 3 to 4 UAE time if you do miss a show. And also all the podcasts on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud. Or if you want to watch the whole episode with Anisha Shetty, head over to the YouTube channel, Pulse 95 Radio, and you can find it there. We have all sorts of really, really cool guests talking about some important topics like mental health, gut health, and how important the brain is on performance and recovery. Anisha, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
We had a great time, huh?
Yes, we did.
Awesome. Guys, take care. Have a great day. Coming up next is our very own Rania Saadi. She's going to be here. Hello, Rania. How you doing? She's going to be here live from 4 to 5. Have a great day, folks. We're out. Take care.
If you liked this episode of The Halftime Show, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.